Morning, guys. Got inside. We're all closed up again. It's raining here again once again in Southern California. So we'll be in here with the heater on all day. First thing I'm doing is getting this Philippon dining table disassembled. We're going to get it ready so we can start sanding it maybe later today. I haven't decided if I want to strip the top or just wipe it with some acetone. It looks like it's just an oiled finish, something we could just take off real easily and not waste any stripper. So I got that screw out. Oh, I just noticed too, one of the heads just broke off on the top of this screw head. So now we'll have to come back to this one and figure out how the heck I'm going to get it out. That doesn't usually happen on large screws like this. So you can see that there is some glue and some repairs that were done that maybe it was broken before and they just shoved it in there with some glue. I don't know. Like I said, that's a first. That hasn't happened to me before. Not on a screw of this size. I had a lot of questions yesterday after yesterday's video talking about my refinishing guide. Stay tuned through this video. At one point today, I'm going to give you a $15 promo code that you could use in free shipping for the book. So I said stay tuned. I'm going to kind of surprise you at one point today. I don't know when I'm going to throw it out there, but we'll get that set up. And if you can make it that far in this video, you'll get $15 off your refinishing guide. So that's the first thing. We got all those screws out. These are for table dining leaves. They don't have any leaves for the table, but obviously they really put this one in tight. They're stuck in here. Like that one's really tight. Then I also noticed, I was talking with Ivan before, that it looks like they glued these down, which means we have to get them out so we can paint them black. We can get, this won't come out anyways until one of these is removed. So I'm gonna go get a couple different tools so I can dig into that, and let's see if we can get these out safely. It's really important here to get like a razor blade of some sort and just kind of score a line around the perimeter. This will help if for some reason it gets stuck. And we don't want to break off any veneer if at all possible. We're trying to, we have to get this out. This is one of those rare cases. In the first chapter or two of my book, I talk about we don't ever break things off except for on special circumstances. This would be one of those, just because we have to paint black with this, teak. It's not, not something we could do. And actually, I just realized before I jump into this, the screw is still in here. So I'm going to go grab one more tool and see if I could get that screw out. Because it doesn't matter how hard I would have hit it with the chisel, this wasn't going to come out. Let's go get that. So I got one of my large screwdrivers, little big flat head. I'm going to go in here. I'm just going to kind of tap it in first because the line is still there for that flat head. This will just kind of work around if there's any dirt inside. Let's see. There we go. There's still a little bit of teeth of grabbing. I think the hardest part is that the table wants to move. Let's see if I can get it from this side. Let's go. Almost got it. Worst case too is I get it up enough and I could just grab a pair of pliers, but it doesn't look like I'm going to need to. Luckily this was not, I don't want to do that with my bare hands, so I might slice myself. This metal is sharp. There we go. So I don't know if we're going to be able to see it, but the head is snapped off. Some sort of either rust or old screw, or like I said, maybe it broke before and we were just the lucky ones to have to get it out. I said, finish scoring it one more time. I'm going to tap it with a hammer a little bit. See if that helps kind of break the bond. Take my chisel. Just I'm going to slowly kind of work around it. I said it's trying to break that bond. So hopefully, there we go. Like hopefully it just pops up. We're going to want to go slowly, so that way we make sure we don't peel up any veneer. I mean, we may be doing a little bit of damage to it, but This is why I scored it, so that way it'll cut any type of veneer or anything like that. It'll cut just a minor amount, so when it does break, it should break off on a square edge. Unfortunately, I can't get to this back side, so that's where I think it's grabbing right now. I said I could hear it. There we go. See? Very minor. A couple little spots that held, but the actual perimeter is fine. So we'll glue this back down with some glue, with some super glue. We'll put a little bit of epoxy back in. We'll sand this back to, you know, perfectly flat, and this one will be good to go. We have 3 more, and we'll get those knocked out. I think I almost got this one. There we go. Perfect. So now we got those off. Like in my book, I always say stamp these. And actually, this one ended up eating up a little bit more of the veneer. So I'm actually going to put the number just to the side of it, because I know it's going to be covered by this, you know, this guide. So, you know, we're going to label number 1. I'm going to take the bottom of the little cleat. I'm going to number this as well. Then I'm going to keep this next to it, and then we'll label this side with a 1 once we flip it over. I'm going to grab it, you know, the next number, number 4, right? Do that, scoot it over again, and just number it just underneath there. Just underneath there, and we'll keep that ready. I'll flip this over, stamp the bottom side, and we'll move on to the other side. Now we got the table all clear. Now you can see how easy of a refinish this is. It's just a flat surface, a little bit of work, some damage that we have to do. Some of it, like this, was self-inflicted. So now we're going to use these products, all purchased at woodrepairproducts.com. I purchase in store. Once again, use the code MORE5OFF if you want to order all of these. We have the wax wash, which doesn't come in this bottle. You have to buy it in a quart or a gallon. The spray activator, and then the super glue. All of this stuff is in my product link on my website. We have all of the product numbers and links where to purchase it. And if you're in Southern California, you could still go use that promo code in person, shop in store, which is really nice as well. But back to refinishing, you can see we're now adding the little bit of super glue to these areas that lift it up. You can see here it's a nice straight edge, which is why we were able to, you know, we used that X-Acto knife, you know, a utility knife to get in there. But on this side, it was sitting underneath the rail, so there was no way to get under it. But luckily, you can see where the shadow is here. We didn't really damage any veneer on the exterior of the little block, which is nice. So I said, run that super glue. I'm going to go a little bit more. I can see that it sucked it up in some of those areas. Kind of wipe it off with the rag. I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on some of these looser areas that I could see that were lifted. Activate just a little bit at a time. And just kind of work my way around. I'm going to do this around the entire all 4 corners. Then we'll go back, we'll let this dry for a little bit, and add some epoxy. All right, so we got those all glued up. I put the epoxy in all of the missing veneer. We've let that dry. I was on a call with Casey over at Benco, who supplies the stripper. We were talking about all the regulations and all the stuff that they're trying to do. And Benco is actually one of the groups who is appealing the decision about the methylene chloride. So I'm going to start posting more about that here soon. What we're going to do, like I said, on this table is I'm taking my hard block and a little bit of 100 grit, and just we're going to block sand these areas and get them back down to that perfectly flat, you know, the way they were before we damaged the veneer. So if you want to use a block, don't use your sanding machine. It'll start giving it ripples. This will keep it nice and flat, especially when filling large areas like this. And as you're sanding it now, you can start seeing we're getting closer down with the epoxy, but you can still see a little bit layer of the glue, which was, you know, attached to the table. We're trying to get all that off as well. We're trying to get it back to the raw wood. And this is where you get your arm workout. We'll get a good one today because we have 4 of these to do. This will take a little bit of muscle. And it's really important too, not to sand just in little strokes like this. You really want to do a little bit of narrow, then go wider. That'll help keep this whole thing level. You can see I just about got it. It's pretty much flat. By the time we sand this with the 220 with the machine, this will all be nice and pretty. So we're going to continue on with the other 3. Now you can get one more look at this as the before. It's going to get sanded here shortly. We're going to get it, you know, the top side stripped down, bottom side's all repaired, all those epoxy spots are fixed. But I just had a message on my on one of my listings for a piece of furniture. Now I got to move a few pieces around because I have a guy coming in tomorrow to buy one of my, I think it's a teak little end table. So let's pull that out. But in the meantime, we can kind of show off some of these cool pieces that we have. This one here, it's a little, we did a larger one a few months ago, that it was a large hand chair, probably about 3.5 feet tall. This one here, he thought was about the same size. It arrived, he bought it from an auction or something along those lines, and it ends up being looking like a kid's chair, which is still pretty cool. I really like that. I'm gonna move this cabinet out of the way too. We're gonna put this on a table next, and I'll explain to you what we're doing to that. But like I said, we're trying to play Tetris in here sometimes. We have a bunch of projects, and I have a bunch of furniture that is completed, ready to go for sale. I just haven't had the time to relist it and get them online so that you guys could purchase them from us. So one of the things to do this year is get all these projects done that I could sell them. Let's see, we'll move a little bit of plastic. It's a lot of dust on this. It's been sitting. We finished a lot of these projects probably 3 or 4 months ago. Not probably longer than that, probably 6 months, 8 months ago. Put them for sale and they just weren't moving at all. So we decided to hold off until after the election and maybe list them here early in 2025. But now you can see this thing's got a bunch of sawdust on it. We've restored this one. We fully stripped it down, refinished it, brought it back to life. Like I said, I think it's Danish. It's a beautiful end table. It's very large. I don't know if it comes through in the video, but this thing is about 31 inches by 31 inches. It's not your typical little end table. It's really, really a unique one, really rare. So Ivan and I just got this one back on the table. If you remember it, we picked it up maybe about 3-4 weeks ago. We're gonna jump it into the lineup. It's coming in for a restoration, not a full strip down repair, things like that. We're gonna fix some cracks on the top. The doors are not operating properly. They're touching and rubbing a little bit. As you can see, the drawers go too far in, so the stop blocks are missing on a lot of these ones. We're gonna try to figure out, get it operational again. She gave it to us as well. There were some missing parts that fell off. Here's one of the stop blocks. So we're gonna go through this whole thing, confirm. I need to actually send her an email and confirm if she wants us to clean the brass or leave it that original tarnished color. And I said, we're gonna dive into this maybe tomorrow or Monday, depending on how we get stuff done tomorrow. And I said, it's a really cool piece, really old. Yeah, not much more to talk about that. Let's get back over here. Now you can see we're starting to make some space in here, getting things down the line, organized. I said, this table, we're gonna wipe it down, blow it off. I'm gonna send the guy a few more pictures just to let him know it's still in great condition. I said it was fully restored by us, so there was no cutting corners on this table. I said it's a really cool piece. It's made out of solid teak. It's not plywood. It's not veneer or anything like that. I believe it's called like a Peter Hvidt is the designer. It's a Danish really nice. The cane is still in really good shape. As always, we strip and clean and do the whole top and bottom. It might be a little dusty, but I mean, it's really the lines on this too. The curvature is really pretty. I said it's one that I've had for sale for a while. We were going to use it at home too, and you can actually see that. Look at that dust. I mean, it's even covered in plastic. It did get destroyed sitting in here for 6 months. That sawdust gets everywhere. But I said, we'll wipe it down. I'll take some pictures. I'll send it to the guy here in just a few minutes. And remember these from, I think it was yesterday or the day before, we fixed them all up. We oiled them. I'm not going to hydrate the entire piece, but as you notice, like all of the screw holes are all fixed. You don't see those anymore. Now I'm going to just kind of put them back into place for right now. Give the customer a call and hopefully they can come pick it up maybe tomorrow. I said these are ready to go. First time I've ever fixed this. Don't really want to do it again. They were kind of a pain in the butt, but we said we'll manage and we'll get this thing out of here and back to the customer. All right, we got a couple pieces that I need to get stained as well. First is this Antoine Philippon desk chair that we've been working on. So to see the transformation from this chair, from the way it started, how we had to destroy that back panel to get it out. Like I said, it's really taken a lot of shape. Ivan's worked a lot on this one. It's a really good looking chair. First thing I'm going to do is just drill a small hole here on top so that way I can mount it. This is all going to be covered in batting and probably new leather. So when we're done, I'll likely put a little bit of epoxy in here, clean it, and then when they wrap it, you'll never see that. It'll just be the safest spot to put it, so I can hang it up and spray this, cleanly, the most easy way possible. You could get away with that. You just have to know how the furniture is built. You don't just drill holes in spots are going to be seen. You're going to put it in inconspicuous areas. Use existing holes, which this one has. But I don't like the thickness is about 3/8 of an inch. I don't really want to rely on that to hold these screws. And we have a different hook system that could actually go through these larger holes, but then it would be upside down. A lot harder to touch up, respray. You really want to have it, sitting the direction that it's going to be sitting in the house, or the studio, as this one will be, the art gallery. So once again, got it all mixed back up. I'm going to take my brush. I'm first going to kind of get around all of these corners and edges, so that way I don't have to do this after the fact. Get in here, kind of work it around these little areas, because the leather is going to tuck in some of these areas. So we want to make sure there's a little bit of stain there for color. It'll just make it better. You're never going to see these little areas once it's completed, but I know they're there, so let's just do it the right way. Let's see, I'm making a mess already. Kind of dry it up. This one's a little tricky too, because it wants to flex while I'm doing it. So we hit all that. Then I'll kind of take the rag as normal. On the chair like this, I'm going to start on the inside. How nice, it's a really nice mahogany. And this all goes with all the pieces you've been seeing all week. The desk that's rosewood, that Philippon cabinet, now that dining table that we were working on all morning, it's all going to go in the same exhibit in the art gallery. So stay tuned for the dates on that. We can't wait to tell you more about that once we get it dialed in. So I'm going to take the rag, dry this really well. Once again, this section in the back, you're never going to see, but we're going to still wipe a little bit of stain on it. Like I mentioned, as Ivan was asking earlier, you're only going to see maybe about 6 to 7 inches of it from here, and then you're only going to see it to about right here. So that's, knowing how the upholstery is going to go back in can help you out, but why not just make the whole piece, perfect. The cushion sits here, but it's still, let's restore it properly. So it's slowly just working my way around. Now we're at the last side here. Kind of just same thing. I like to go, just like yesterday, I like going in even passes, like when I spray. I don't like to go wild all over it and make a mess. Kind of just my strategy. I'm gonna wipe it dry real well. So we don't want this stain to just sit and penetrate. We want it to just wipe on, wipe off real quick. We don't need the color to change that much. We're just here to we're trying to richen it up. Now that teak one, the teak dining table is gonna be a little unique because I don't normally stain teak to this darkness, but it's gonna go to match this exact, all these pieces. So they're gonna have to tie in. That teak is gonna have to look like mahogany, rosewood. The rosewood's gonna have to look like teak and mahogany. So it's like we're gonna play with colors and get it right. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get a couple of my hangers that we custom make here. Different sizes, so it's like these are drilled to be the smallest ones. No reason to add a larger hole than we need to. Let me turn it so you can see. So get it into that hole tightly. You don't want it to fall down. Maybe it happens once a year here. We'll get one of these that breaks. So far, nothing has actually fallen on the ground, thank goodness. Usually it's when we have two, one will snap, so the other one will hold it up. So we've gotten lucky so far, but it happens. That's why it's like, keep it like this. Like I was mentioning earlier, I like to hang it like this so I could spray it with the way that it sits, in a home. It just makes it all easier to touch up, easier to blend in. You can see the true color, especially with mahogany. If you were to flip it over, the color may look different due to the highlights in the wood. It's not as forgiving. So it's, as I said, do this at your shop. It'll help you out. And then you can spray the entire piece on both sides at once. You don't have to wait, and flip things over. Okay, we're back in the spray booth. I just mixed up some more sealer. Unlike a lot of other refinishers, we go above and beyond for our customers. That's a common saying here. This dresser, this cabinet, we always seal the bottom, make sure it's protected. Now, that was a couple hours ago. We let it dry. I'll come back, set it up here carefully. Now I can spin it around, set it up, and then take my tack cloth, wipe the back down, making sure there's no dust from that table. And then when we're done, we'll get it in the sealing process, in the sanding. We'll sand the bottom, get it lightly smooth. It'll just take your refinishing to the next level. It does not take that long to do. And so I'm just about ready to go on this one. The bookshelves from the interior of that 8-foot cabinet, these need just one more coat. I can get them out, and then we can get that Cofemo chair back inside. All right, we got our spray mask on. I got my hat on. I like to wear a hat. We're all covered up. We're ready to go. Okay, last bookshelf is done. What I'm going to do now is set it outside here. And then I'm going to grab the next piece. I don't know where I want to put this yet. It's definitely not where I want to put it yet, but that's good enough for now. Okay, we've got the Cofemo chair in here. I'm just going to give it a quick blowing off. We usually do this outside, and there's usually not much dust left by the time it comes in here. Just a little bit of residual, except for that one. I'm gonna blame Ivan for that one. Yeah, just that one. That was the only one. Perfect. I'm going to grab some acetone like we did yesterday so I can wipe these off real quick, and then we'll get spraying on the Philippon and the Cofimo. Okay, I'm just doing that final wipe down on it, but I think I owe you guys a promo code. If you go to reviveandrefine.com, use the code FREESHIPPINGUSA. It'll get you free shipping, which is worth $15 off of your order. If you live in a foreign country and it's on the website and I can ship to you, it'll just take $15 off your order. I hope you guys use that promo code up, and I see some orders from you tonight. I want to get a few more copies of these books over, get them out to you. I would love to see that. Obviously, we got to be careful here. Here's your Made in Italy sticker. The acetone can easily wipe off that writing. It's a lot of this writing, all these emblems are oil-based, so you could easily have a bad day. You could take that off and make this chair, so unvaluable. I posted this picture the other day about this chair, and all the comments I'm getting about, oh, it's just an Eames knockoff, it's a cheap chair. I'm like, these chairs still sell for like $3,000 online. This is not a cheap chair. It is just not an Eames chair. Eames has the branding on it that everyone wants, but I said I really like certain elements of this chair better than an Eames. It really is designed really nice. Okay, we're gonna let those pieces dry, come back tomorrow. Also, we're gonna let the stain dry on those other pieces you just saw us do as well. Let that dry overnight. Come back, Ivan's gonna get sanding. I'm gonna come back and get the rest of this in the spray booth tomorrow with the first coats of sealer so we could button up these projects next week. Once again, I'm glad that you're here. Make sure to subscribe down below. Hit that notification bell too so you know when I release a new video. I think we're gonna start doing Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays of release dates, so that way you have plenty of content throughout the week to watch, and I can keep making this free content for you. We'll see you guys tomorrow.